Welcome to the Good Enough Lap Guide in the Mazda MX-5 at Motorsport Arena Oschersleben, your lap guide to move up through the splits. The purpose of this video is to give you guys a foundation that you can build on top of. If you can follow this lap guide, hit these marks, follow these lines, race smart, race to survive, and finish the race, you guys will move up through the splits. First, I wanted to touch on the track itself. This car track combination can be pretty tricky just because of the oversteer nature of the MX-5 when going into corners. So turn one, you got to attack it really hard, but the car can feel a little unnerving going into the corner. I would say turns 4, 5, and 6 are the trickiest corners on the whole track just because of that oversteer going into the corner. You have to go through the corner just right, hit your braking points just right, trail brake just right, and then on the end of it all, you have to hit your braking point correct for turn 7. There's not a lot of passing opportunities on this track other than people making mistakes. There are two what would seem to be obvious passing opportunities, and that would be the back straight, which I would say is your best passing opportunity because setting up for that is turns 8 and 9. So you gotta get 8, 9, 10 just right. If you get that right, that's usually where somebody's gonna make a mistake and you're gonna be awesome. So I would focus on trying to pass people on the back straight and just do your best getting through 8, 9, and 10 in the hopes they make a mistake and you can take advantage. This is my first time driving the car this season. I don't see anything different in how it handles versus last season, so those track guides I put out last season should hold true if you want to reference those going through the season, because I'm not going to be doing lap guides every single week like I was. I'm starting to focus on the GT4. I figure those lap guides from last season hold up, so you can definitely check those out and reference those. So getting into the car characteristics, oversteers on entry and middle. So you really got to be careful going into the corners, especially on early laps, or you're going to spin out. You got to get used to that oversteer, and once you do, you actually can start to use it to your advantage. And then it has understeer on exit. So it's really important that you get the car rotated through the corner, get it pointed where you want it to, because as soon as you get on the throttle, it ain't going to want to turn anymore. So if you don't have the car rotated enough through the middle of the corner, you're just going to push out wide. You're going to have to get back off the gas, let the car rotate more, and then get back on the gas. So just be really patient through the middle of the corner. Make sure you got the car pointed where you want it, and then get back on the throttle. The good thing about understeer on exit is it's going to be really secure on exit, so you really don't have to worry about the car oversteering on you. The only way that's going to happen is if you're fighting the car on exit, you're being stubborn, and you're staying in the gas, it's understeering, you finally get out to the edge of the track, and you might touch a little bit of the dirt, a little bit of the gravel, whatever it is, and it's just going to snap oversteer on you. So that's the only way you're going to get into that situation with the car. The weather for this lap was 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 19.9 degrees Celsius. The track temp was 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius. The lap time was a 138.937. Sector 1 was a 36.321. Sector 2 was a 34.618. And Sector 3 was a 27.997. Alright, let's get into the lap. For turn 1, your braking point is going to be where the access road is on the right. You're going to want a middle late apex for the corner. Aim for those last 3 yellow sausages on the left. For turn 2, we're going to treat this as a double apex corner. Your first apex is going to be as the curb ends on the right. And then we're going to let the car float a couple feet off the curb here so we can get a nice line for our second apex on the corner. We're going to aim for the middle part of that secondary red curb on the inside. I do think this straightaway can be an opportunity to get a pass. If they mess up turn 2 and you nail it, you can get a run on them going into turn 3. For turn 3, you can use the shadow of the lights above as your braking point. As we're entering the corner, you're going to keep the car about a car width off the inside, and that way you'll get a nice late apex for the corner. If you guys are enjoying this video, finding it helpful, please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And now we're coming up to what I feel to be the trickiest part of the whole track. I find the key to this part of the track is smooth, precise inputs. Your turn in will be the third cone from the end. For turn 4, I find it helpful to keep the car about a couple feet off the actual apex. This way you'll have a better line going through 5 and 6. Turn 5 is pretty straightforward, middle to late apex. The key is to keeping the car towards the inside as you're coming off the corner so you can keep a tight line going into 6. For turn 6, we're going to have a late apex, and that's going to set us up for our braking point as well, which is going to be at the end of the curb here, and then that'll give us the best line going into 7. We're going to treat turn 7 as a double apexing corner. Your first apex is going to be at the last cone here. You're going to want to carry a little extra speed into the corner so you can have the car push out about a foot or 2 off the inside curb. This way you'll get the best line going into the last part of the corner and get that late apex. And you can see here the apex is actually in between the 2 major curbs. This curb ends, another curb begins. Your apex is right in between those 2. Now we're coming up to the 8, 9, 10 complex. This is a great opportunity to pass someone coming out of 10, so you really want to get good at being consistent through here, hitting your marks. Eventually somebody's going to make a mistake in front of you and you're going to be able to take advantage. So for turn 8, you're going to want to do a late apex. It's okay to go over the curb. It'll give you a better line going into 9. You can cut turn 9. The key is just to keep some part of your right side tires on the red and white curb. If you did those two corners right, you should have the best line going into turn 10. You want to have a late apex. I do touch the inside curb here. If you do, you're going to have to lift off the throttle a little bit. Ideally, you want to get as close to that red curb on the inside without touching it. That's the best line through here. If you guys want to check out more of my lap guides, please subscribe. I do have a back catalog on the MX-5, and I am updating any tracks I haven't done yet. Now, if you got 8, 9, 10 right, which you did, because you watched my video, you practiced, you hit your marks, you executed, the guy in front of you didn't, he made a mistake, you're going to be able to pass him here. For turn 11, there's skid marks where you should be braking, which makes sense, so use those as reference for your braking point. For turn 11, it's going to be a middle 8 apex. You can drive the car in pretty hard here, it handles pretty well, but if you do overdrive it, you're going to push wide and it's going to mess up your corner for turn 12. For turn 12, this is your lifting point. It's just before the access road. We won't be using brakes. I find keeping a shallower line going into the corner gives you the best results. You're going to have a late apex for the corner. It's okay if you touch inside curb. I just wouldn't get too ambitious with it. For turn 13, it'll be a lifting point. There won't be any braking. You can use the overhead track lights as your reference. And then it'll be a late apex for the corner. For turn 14, your braking point's going to be at the end of the curb on the left. We want to use as much of the pit entry as we can. We just have to keep some part of our right side tires on the right side of the dashed line, or you'll get a 1X. Now, if you really want to get a good run out of the corner and pass somebody and hope they mess up the corner, use as much of the pit entry as you can, swing it out another couple feet wider. That'll give you a better line in the corner. And then you'll shoot for a late apex, try and not hit the curb on the inside. And that's your good enough lap guide, the Mazda MX-5 at Motorsport Arena, Oschersleben. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to keep catching these videos, subscribe. Like I said, I have a backlog of the MX-5 videos. If there's any more tracks that are coming out that I haven't done, I'll be posting them this season. See you guys in the next one.